Hi, in this video, I'm going to introduce the idea of the turning point, which is really key in kinematics. It's the point at which a motion stops and reverses direction. Simplest example is just something tossed straight up and coming back down again. So as it's going up, it's going to come up and then it's going to reach its maximum height and then it's going to start falling again. So what I want you to do is think about what the velocity and the acceleration of this ball would be doing at its turning point, at that maximum height. So here are four options, and I want you to think about which one makes the most sense to you. Pause if you need to, and see which one makes sense to you. Now, after you've made your choice, I want you to think seriously about why you thought that. Why did you pick that one? What was in your brain when you're thinking about the velocity? What was in your brain when you're thinking about the acceleration? Because we got to take those two separately. Remember that they're related concepts, but they're not the same thing. So you chose one of them, and you hopefully thought about why you chose that one. So let's take these two separately. So we have something that's being tossed up and it comes to its maximum height and then it starts falling again. Let's start with velocity. What's happening as it's rising? You probably understand and know that it's slowing down as it comes to the top and then it stops here and then it starts falling and speeding up as it slows down. It stops here. I just said it. So at its turning point, at that peak, maximum height, the velocity is 0. We have a positive velocity going up, we pause, we're at 0, and then we have a negative velocity as it's falling back down again. So velocity is 0 at the peak. Now let's think about the acceleration. What did you choose for acceleration? I'm gonna just make a guess that you said the acceleration is also 0, because you say, well, okay, it's paused there, the acceleration must be 0 too. Let's think about that. I'm going to give you two things to think about in terms of acceleration. For this motion, so while it's in the air, not touching anything else, while it's in the air, what's causing it to slow down or speed up? Gravity, you say? Acceleration due to gravity? Yep. So it's the force of the earth pulling down on the super ball. And does that stop all of a sudden just because it reaches its peak? Does gravity turn off momentarily? I hope not, because life would be very different for us if it did. So I doubt that it's acceleration 0 at the top, because it's accelerating because of gravity, and gravity is constant. Gravity doesn't turn off just because it's at the top there. The other way to think about this is, well, okay, if it was velocity 0 at the top, and most people are usually comfortable with thinking about that as velocity 0, and if the acceleration was 0, what would its motion be like? So velocity is 0 and acceleration is 0. So velocity is 0 means it is not moving. Acceleration being 0 means it's not changing its speed. It's not speeding up, it's not slowing down, we're at constant velocity. So acceleration equals 0 means constant velocity, and our velocity is already 0. So what would it be doing if we had both velocity and acceleration 0 at the top? Well, it would just be sitting here, hanging in the air. It wouldn't be doing anything interesting at all. Well, I guess that would be very interesting, but that's one way to think about what's happening at the turning point. And again, this is a key difference between velocity and acceleration. Velocity can be whatever, positive, 0, negative. Acceleration can be whatever, positive, 0, negative. They're related, but they're not the same thing. You can have one of each, one of this one and one of this one, any combination that you want. So the turning point is a very interesting point, and we're going to be using that idea that the velocity is 0 at that turning point when we're solving problems, because you're going to be solving problems like, well, okay, how far up did the marble go? How high did it go? And you're going to have to say, wait, I know something. At its highest point, the velocity is 0. So keep that in mind as you're going through problem solving when we talk about that in a little bit. So turning point, velocity is 0, but the acceleration is not. Otherwise, it would just hover. It'd be kind of cool, but life would be very different. That's all I got for you.